Comrades and friends, welcome to Global Weekly News, serial number 56. First, we are going to see global hunger levels. FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization, IFAD, International Fund for Agriculture Development, UNICEF, United Nations International Children's Education Fund, WHO, World Health Organization, WFP, World Food Programme. All these 5 UN organizations prepared a report on global hunger and released on 12th July. Compared to pre-pandemic 2019, in 2022, 12.2 crore more people suffered from hunger. In 2022, 73.5 crore people suffered from hunger. In 2019, 7.9% of the world population faced hunger, whereas after the pandemic in 2022, 9.2% of the world population faced chronic hunger. The number of people suffering due to hunger has declined in Latin American countries. Even in developed countries like North America and Europe, food insecurity has slightly increased in 2022. One of the important sustainable development goals of the United Nations at the dawn of the millennium is eradication of hunger by 2030. At the current rates of hunger growth, in 2030, at least 60 crore people will face hunger. All these things are underestimated. Anyhow, it is an indication. Capitalist system incapable of elimination of hunger, poverty, etc. cannot escape on the pretext of Ukraine war, COVID-19, etc. Major reasons for food insecurity, malnutrition and hunger. The reasons are conflicts, climate changes, slowing down of economy and growing inequality worldwide. These reasons will not vanish by 2030. More than 310 crore people, that is 42% of the world's population, are not able to access healthy diet. Second, we are going to see European Union CELAC Summit. Third, European Union Community for Latin American Countries, that is CELAC. Third European Union CELAC Summit was held on 17th-18th July at Brussels of Belgium. Parallel to this, People's Summit of Latin America and European movements was also held at Brussels on the same dates. European Union CELAC Summit is being held after a gap of 8 years. Cuba and Venezuela strongly condemned some measures and attitude of the European Union. 33-member Latin American Caribbean Community, CELAC, has become stronger after leftist presidents assumed power in two large economies of Latin America, that is Mexico and Brazil. Gustavo Petro, President of Colombia, and Lula da Silva, President of Brazil, have got global recognition for their role in issues like climate change, ending of socio-economic inequality, etc. Trade unions, left parties, and people's movements of Latin America, Caribbean, and European countries will take part in the People's Summit at Brussels. General public is also allowed to participate in this summit. The People's Summit will discuss on developing good relations between Latin American region and the European region. Human Rights Watch has written to heads of states regarding the participation of Nicaragua in the European Union CELAC Summit. In Nicaragua, the incarceration rate, that is those who are put in jail, the incarceration rate is 332 per 1 lakh population. The same Human Rights Watch is not questioning United States, where the incarceration rate is double, 664 per 1 lakh population. Organization of American States, OAS, led by USA, is overtaken by CELAC now. CELAC is developing economic and medical cooperation between its member states. European Union's approach to CELAC is sort of having colonial slave mentality. What to discuss in the summit, who can participate in the summit, all these things, European Union dominates in taking decisions on these questions. European Union wants to invite Zelensky, President of Ukraine, to the summit. But majority of Latin American countries follow the path of non-alignment. They do not criticize Russia as per the desire of the European countries. European Union Parliament met prior to the European Union CELAC summit and passed a resolution to impose sanctions on Cuba, since they think that there are no human rights in Cuba. Many European multinational companies are investing in Latin America and extracting the natural resources. We have to wait to see what sort of agreements will be reached at the European Union CELAC summit. Third, we are going to see about NATO summit, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It's a military collective organization led by United States. NATO summit was held at Vilnius of Lithuania on July 11th and 12th. Vilnius is the capital of Lithuania. Vilnius. Lithuania was one of the former republics in USSR. Lithuania was the first former Soviet country to join NATO in 2004. Even before Ukraine was attacked by Russia on 24th February 2022, Lithuania was supplying arms to Ukraine. Both United States and Germany did not like to allow Ukraine to become a full member of NATO when the war is actually going on. Washington Treaty of NATO in 1849 has an Article 5. As per that article, if any one NATO country is attacked, then all other NATO countries shall come to defend that. Defend the country which is being attacked. That means if Ukraine is admitted at the present juncture as a full member of the NATO, immediately it follows that all other NATO countries shall invade Russia, which will lead to war escalation and all that, which will lead to full-scale war with Russia. Out of 28 countries supplying arms to Ukraine, 25 are NATO members, and Ukrainian troops are getting training in United States military bases in many countries. Ukrainian President Zelensky got disappointed because NATO summit has not taken a decision to admit Ukraine in NATO. He expressed some criticisms after getting irritated by NATO's hesitancy. Vilnius communique has mentioned that before Ukraine joins NATO, the conflict shall end and some sort of ceasefire comes to effect. This is the desire of US and Germany. Sweden applied for NATO membership. Turkey and Hungary, NATO members, raised objections initially. Sweden government has amended the anti-terrorism law to expatriate the anti-Turkey Kurdish rebels. Now both Turkey and Hungary have withdrawn their objections. The NATO summit took a decision to admit Sweden as 32nd member of NATO. Communist Party of Sweden and other NATO countries oppose this decision. NATO's military budget is more than half of the world's military budget. NATO summit has decided that each NATO member shall allot 2% of its national income to military expenditure. If this happens, then NATO's military budget will be about 75 to 80% of the world's total military budget. NATO destroyed Yugoslavia in 1959, destroyed Afghanistan in 2003, and destroyed Libya in 2011. This is the track record of NATO. NATO, without any hesitancy, has decided to go ahead with the Cold War against both Russia and China. Comrades, now let us go to Africa, Kenya. People of Kenya are already suffering due to price rise. Now Kenyan government has doubled the taxes on fuels. People are on the streets protesting this hike in taxes. So far, 12 people were killed and hundreds arrested. IMF and US government have welcomed tax hike in Kenya. President of Kenya, William Ruto, introduced Finance Law 2023. When people protested on 7th July, more than 1,000 were arrested. Except 75 protesters, all others were released in the evening. The 75 protesters were kept in the Nairobi police station for 2 days. And this police station has a history of missing student activists, according to Comrade Omol, National Organizing Secretary of Communist Party of Kenya. Out of the 75 protesters, 37 belong to Kenyan Communist Party. There are senior lawyers and former Chief Justice also among the protesters. They faced police tear gas cells. On 9th July, all these 75 protesters were released and no charges were framed against them. On 7th July, 2 policemen died at the protest site. On 12th July, more policemen died than civilians at the protest site. Since Kenya's freedom, 2 richest families are ruling Kenya alternatively. William Ruto does not belong to these families. So people expected William Ruto to favor the poor people, but they were disappointed at the performance of William Ruto. From 1st July, value added tax, what was increased on fuel from 8% to 16%. After this, petrol diesel price went up 40%, the highest in 12 years. In rural areas, price of maize shot up to 200 shilling from 60 shilling per 2 kgs. Their staple food, maize. 74% Nairobi people live in slums. They earn less than $1 per day. Housing tax was increased by 1.5%. In special economic zones, multinational companies were given 10-year tax holiday. Both William Ruto and the opposition leader Odinga look up to IMF and the West for solutions to crisis. Omol, organizing secretary of Kenyan Communist Party, emphasized that strong people's movements shall be built up against the policies of the Kenyan government. Comrades, now we go to Central American country, Guatemala, where elections were held recently and there is a after election crisis also now. Guatemala, National Unity of Hope, UNE Rightist Party candidate Sandra Torres and the left Semilla Party candidate Bernardo Arevalo will face second round of presidential elections in Guatemala, Central American country on 20th August. First round of elections took place on 25th June. 10 opposition parties demanded recount of the votes polled in elections on 25th June. The Supreme Electoral Tribunal has withheld the results for 15 days. After elections on 25th June, crisis has deepened. On 12th July, Electoral Tribunal confirmed the results of the first round of elections. Just a few minutes before this, Government Prosecutor Office had suspended the legal status of the opposite Semilla Party based on a complaint that 5,000 out of 25,000 signatures required for recognition were illegal. Some people dead also. And Semilla Party got their signatures also. That is an allegation. As per the electoral law, as the election process is underway, no party can be suspended. 3 presidential candidates were already disqualified before the elections on 25th June. Some of them are likely to win also. I mean, they had very good prospects, but still they got disqualified. Let us wait and see who wins the presidential race, Sandra Terrace or Bernardo Arevalo. Lastly, we are going to see how OPEC became OPEC Plus. Saudi Arabia is an important member of Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries OPEC. A few months before, Saudi Arabia issued a statement that its treasury will be in danger if crude oil price goes below $80 per barrel. Since Saudi launched a war on Yemen and carried out various construction projects in Red Sea islands, Saudi Arabia's economy is in crisis. In 2012, crude oil price was $111.63 per barrel. In 2016, crude oil price declined drastically to $43 per barrel. 1 barrel is equal to 159 liters. Saudi took initiative to include Russia, another petroleum exporting country, in OPEC. Therefore, OPEC became OPEC Plus. OPEC Plus countries fulfill fuel and gas requirement of the world to the level of 40%. Now, Russia is exporting crude oil to India and China largely at a discounted price. Because of this, there was tension between Russia and Saudi Arabia. Due to joint efforts of OPEC Plus, in 2022, crude oil prices went up to $100 per barrel. In summer, people travel a lot with their families to spend summer holidays, and there will be more oil consumption. United States is buying crude oil to build up its reserves. Presently, crude oil price is $80 per barrel due to coordinated efforts of Russia and Saudi Arabia. See you, comrades. Lal Salam next week. Thank you.